you have completed problem number 1 on your own. It's time to check your work. All right, so the problem says Giovanni is making meatballs and his recipe calls for 12 eggs for every 6 pounds of meat. Giovanni used a double number line diagram to figure out the recipe for larger batches, or for large batches. Okay, so this 12 is for the eggs, the 6 is the pounds of meat. Okay, A says, use the information presented in the double number line diagram to complete the first 3 rows of the table. Well, here's our table. And here's our double number line already completed for us. So all we're going to do is pull these ratios out, make sure that we know which numbers for eggs, which numbers for meat, eggs, meat. We're going to put those in there. 12 to 6. 24 to 12. 36 to 18. All right, we are done with A. B says, use the table to determine the number of eggs needed for 36 pounds of meat. All right, so we want to know the number of eggs. That is what we do not know. We know how much meat. So we're going to go to the meat column, and we're going to put 36. All right, so now I'm going to ask myself, is there something that I can multiply any of these numbers by to get 36? Yeah, there is. I can multiply 6 times something to get 36. I can multiply 12 times something to get 36. I can even multiply 18 by something to get 36. 36 is a multiplier of all of these. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and take my 18 here, and I know 18 times 2 is 36. And I can go ahead and prove it. 8 times 2 is 16. 10 times 2 is 20. 6 plus 0 is 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. So 36. Now I need to go ahead and do the same thing to this side. Whatever I did over here, I have to do over here. So that means I'm going to have 36 times 2. Well, 2 times 6 is 12, and 2 times 30 is 60. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 6 is 7. That's going to give me 72. So now can I answer? There are blank eggs needed for 36 pounds of meat. There are 72 eggs needed for 36 pounds of meat. Done with B. C. Use the table to determine the pounds of meat needed if 6 eggs are used. 6 eggs. This is eggs. All right, and what do I not know? The pounds of meat. That is what I do not know. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 6 eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and put them into this category right here. And now I'm going to go ahead and ask myself, can 6 either go into any of these numbers equally, or can any of these numbers be multiplied by something to go into 6? Well, actually, yes, they can. If they couldn't, then what I could do is not put the 6 here yet, but actually put a 1 and find my unit ratio, right? Per egg, how much meat do I need? And then that way I could multiply that times 6 to find it out. But 6 goes into 12. So 12 divided by 2 gives me 6. So that means that I can take this 6 and divide it by 2, right? And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I know that 6 eggs, 3 pounds of meat. So how many pounds of meat? There are 3 pounds of meat needed if 6 eggs are used. Boom, done. last part of this page. How many eggs are needed if 40 pounds of meat are used? Show your work and or explain your reasoning. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and ask myself. Well, first off, let me make sure I understand. It's 40 pounds of meat. And what do I not know? It's how many eggs. So my eggs are the unknown. I've got 40 pounds of meat. If I use 40 pounds of meat, well, is 40 a multiplier or a factor of any of these numbers? I don't think so. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and find my unit rate. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take this last ratio that I made here, and I'm going to say, well, 6:3. And just so that I remember what I'm dealing with here, I'm going to make sure that I understand this is the meat, and this is my eggs. Okay, and I want to find my unit rate. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I know that 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. So then what do I need to do here? I need to take this 6 and divide it by 3. 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. Now I know that my unit rate is 2 to 1. Now I can go from this 2 to 1 to 40 pounds of meat, right? Because that's what it said, 40 pounds of meat. Well, how do I get from 1 to 40? I multiply it by 40. So then what do I need to do over on this side? I need to multiply it by 40. And when I multiply 2 times 40, I get 80. So I have a ratio of 80 to 40 if I have 40 pounds of meat. 80 eggs, 40 pounds of meat. 80 eggs, 40 pounds of meat. Now, is this the only way that you could have shown your work? No. You could have drawn a table. You could have done a tape diagram. You could have done all sorts of things in order to solve this. This is how I happen to solve it, but you could have used any of our methods that we have worked with. All right, now that you have finished problem number 2, let's go ahead and check your work. It says, Elwin is attempting to read a 530-page book in 30 days. He reads the first 40 pages in 2 days. At this rate, that means that he's going to continue to read at the same speed, right? He's going to read 40 pages for every 2 days. So at this rate, meaning this rate right here, will he finish the book in time? This is what he wants to do. He's attempting, right? He's trying to. Show your work and or explain your reasoning. All right, so here's what I want to do in order to solve this problem. I want to think about which one of my diagrams or tables might be the best. I'm personally going to choose using a table. First, I want to kind of organize my thoughts. I know that what he is trying to do is a ratio of 530 pages to 30 days. That's what we're trying to see. Is he going to be able to do this? Okay. This is what he is doing, right? So he is doing this. So this is the ratio right here that I'm going to use in my table. I'm going to choose to use a table. And I'm going to say, okay, so I've got pages, red, and I've got how many days it takes. All right, and he read 40 pages in 2 days. My question is, how many pages is he going to be able to read after 30 days? Because that's what he's trying to do this within 30 days. So I'm going to say, I wonder at this rate, how many pages would he read within 30 days. Well, I'm going to ask myself, is there a something that I can multiply 2 times? I know I'm not going to divide because I'm going from a smaller number to a greater number, right? We've talked about that. When you go from a lesser number to a greater number, you know you're going to multiply. So I'm going to ask myself, can I multiply 2 times something to get a product of 30? Yeah, 2 times what? 15. 2 times 15 equals 30. So if I multiply 2 times 15 to get 30, what do I need to do on this side? I need to multiply this by 15 as well. So over on my side here, I'm just going to work this out. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 40 is, 5 times 4 is 20. And then I'm going to go ahead, put in that placeholder because I'm moving on over, and then I'm going to say 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 4 is 6. All right, what have I got? I have got 0, 0, 4 times 1 is 6. Crazy, Miss Himmel. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. All right, so that means that at a rate of 40 to 2, after 30 days, he will have read 600 pages. So then we ask ourselves, is this right here, is this fast enough? Is this a fast enough rate to reach this goal? Well, yeah. He'd be able to read 600 pages in 30 days. So at this rate, Elwin will finish his book in 530, finish his 530 page book in 30 days. That error won't be in your page when you do this test. I'll fix that. All right. Page 3, or question 3. You've already solved this, and now it's time to check your work. JD has a saltwater aquarium. He likes to keep the ratio of fish to crabs at 3 to 2, as shown in the tape diagram. Here's my tape diagram. Here's some pictures of that ratio. If JD has a total of 25 sea creatures, these are all sea creatures, right? In his aquarium, how many of each type of creature does he have in the tank? Use the tape diagram to support your answer. So this is going to be our work that we show. This is not a finished tape diagram. We're going to finish it, and that's how we're going to show our work. All right. So what I know is that he has a total of 25 sea creatures. All together, there are 25 sea creatures, right? And how many of each type of creature does he have in the tank? All right. Well, right now, this ratio, this shows me a total of 5 sea creatures, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I need it to show me 25. So how many times greater does the value of each of these squares need to be? Well, how many times do I need to multiply 5? 5 times what equals 25? I know that 5 times 5 equals 25, right? That's a pretty easy one. If we didn't know that, could we flip this around into a related division problem? Yes, we could. We could divide 25 by 5, and that would tell us the missing factor as well. So if we have to have 5 times, that means that each one of these squares within our sections of tape need to have a value of 5. Now we can use this to figure out how many are fish and how many are crabs. So I see that I have 1, 2, 3 times 5, right? Which is going to equal 15. That's 15 fish. and I see that I have 1, 2 times 5, which equals 10. So that's 10 crabs. So now I can complete my blanks. 15 fish and 10 crabs. All right, last one. Question number 4. Jen is making 33 tablespoons of dipping sauce. So maybe something that you dip egg rolls in or chicken wings, something like that. By combining tablespoons of ketchup and tablespoons of hot sauce in a ratio of 7:4. Okay, so make sure we pay attention to the order that they put these in, right? They listed ketchup first, so that is the 7, and the hot sauce is listed second, so that's the 4. We want to make sure that we pay attention to the order that they're listing the things in and relating that to the order that the numbers are listed in the ratio. How many tablespoons of each ingredient will she need? Okay, so she needs to make a total of 33 tablespoons. She's mixing them in a ratio of 7:4. Well, if she just mixed 7 tablespoons of ketchup and 4 tablespoons of hot sauce, would that be 33? Well, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, that's only 11 tablespoons altogether. So we're going to have to figure out how many tablespoons of each she will need. It then says, show your work with either a triple number line diagram, a table, or a tape diagram. I'm going to show you all 3. All right, so the one that I'm going to start with is the tape diagram. And I'm going to go ahead and label ketchup, hot sauce. All right, so I know that it is 7 tablespoons of ketchup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 4 tablespoons of hot sauce. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And I know that this needs to represent a total of 33. All right. Right now, how many tablespoons does our table represent, or our tape diagram represent? Right now, there are 11 tablespoons, right? But we need it to be how many times greater in order to be 33 tablespoons? Well, let's go see. Do we know our multiplication facts? Can 11 be multiplied by something in order to get 33? If we don't know, we could always flip that around into our related division and do that. But I know my 11s because it's one of my favorites. Whenever I have a single digit number times 11, that single digit just gets doubled up. So I know if I want 2 3s next to them, sit next to each other to make 33, I'm going to multiply that 11 times 3. That means that this 3 is going in each one of these boxes. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Now I can figure out the value of this section of tape and this section of tape separately. So what have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. That means that I have 21 teaspoons of ketchup. And what do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3. 4 times 3 equals 12. That means that I have 12 teaspoons or tablespoons of hot sauce. So I go ahead and I fill in my blanks. Ketchup, 21. Hot sauce, 12. And I can always check my work. If I add this number of tablespoons plus this number of tablespoons, they should equal a total of 33 tablespoons. So I could go ahead and check my work real quick. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. Oh, I match. All right, awesome. So I know that my answer is correct. Now let's just look at how we could solve this with a table. Some of you like the table better. I am a fan of the table. And for this table, we need to have 3 columns. Why do we need to have 3 columns? Because we have ketchup Oops, that is not going to fit, and that's also not how you spell it. Ketchup. Right, ketchup, and I have hot sauce. And then I have the total number because they've given us 3 bits of information. They've given the ratio for the 2 ingredients and the total that's needed. So that's why we have to have 3 columns. Then I put in the information I know. 7 tablespoons of ketchup, 4 tablespoons of hot sauce, which equals 11 tablespoons if I just created this recipe right here, right? A single batch. But I want to know how many, I got to figure out how many batches I'm going to have to be able to make in order to have 33 tablespoons. So then I ask myself, how do I get from 11 to 33? Is there a factor that I can multiply times 11 in order to get a product of 33? We already figured it out here, but we would still ask ourselves the same thing. And I would say, yes, I can multiply 11 times 3 to get 33. If I do that here, what do I have to do here? I have to multiply times 3, which is 12. I have to multiply times 3, which is 21. Do I need the rest of the table? No, I just made sure that I had enough space. I don't need to fill in anything else. I have my 21 ketchup and my 12 tablespoons of hot sauce. All right, let's look at what this would look like on a triple number line. So it's triple because just like with the table, we need to represent the ketchup, hot sauce, and total. All right, I've got my 3 lines. I always start out with zeros, and I line these tally marks up, right, these tick marks. If you have a hard time lining them up, grab a ruler, put it on there, and then go tick, tick, tick. See, mine could be straighter, right? Tick, 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 right? All right, 0, 0, 0. And then I could do my next set of tick marks. Tick, tick, tick. But do they have to be absolutely perfect? No, but you need to be able to visually see which lines match up with each other. Now, on these first set of tick marks, I put the information that I know, a single batch. That's going to be 7 there, 3 there, total of 11 there. Now I need to go ahead and figure out multiple batches until I get to that total of 33. Well, the next batch would be 14 because I'm counting by 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. My next would be 6 because I'm counting by 3s here. And my next here would be 22 because 11 plus 11 is 22. Well, that did not get me as far as I needed. Tick, tick, tick. Count by 7 again. 14 plus 7 is 21. 6 plus 3 is 9. And 22 plus 11 is 33. Oh, there is my total. So that means guys, I put 3 instead of 4. Okay, and that was my fault. That should have been a 4 there. It's a 7 to 4 ratio. I hope this whole time you guys have been saying, Mrs. Hamill, oh my gosh, it's wrong. All right, so that should have been a 4, which means this should have been an 8, which means this should have been a 12. Could you hear me pause and go, what? That's not right? Okay, which shows me my 21 to 12. There we go. I already had that 3 in my brain, and I wrote my single batch down wrong. 7 to 4 is my ratio for my single batch. I should have known that. I wasn't paying attention. All right, there we go. And now I see my 21 tablespoons of ketchup, my 12 tablespoons of hot sauce to have a total of 33 tablespoons of dipping sauce. Okay, any one of these would have been fine. Do you have to do all 3? No. Can if you want to. I don't care. But you need to use one of these 3 models when solving your problem. Okay? All right.